The subject is RFID and flexible sensors. Nowadays, RFID plays an important role in today's society by making everyday activities faster and more efficient. It is used in shopping for quick billing, in transport for toll collections and metro cards, even though in hospitals for tracking patients and equipment, and even in schools for attendance monitoring. And RFID providing security and accuracy and then convenience also. Now RFID has become a valuable technology in modern life. So in first unit, we should know from the basics of RFID. So it includes cases for RFID, eras of RFID, and its architecture with its system quality and its components also. This is the introduction to RFID. That means radio frequency identification. It is an abbreviation of RFID. So it is the modern technology that uses radio waves to automatically identify and track the objects, animals or peoples. So it works through three main components. One is RFID tag, second one is RFID reader, and third one is antenna. Compared to RFID, some other techniques are available, but here it's used for authentication, and also it describes any system of identification in as electronic devices, and it uses radio frequency, and it can help to communicate is attached to an item or object. I already told about the components of RFID, that is tag, a reader and then antenna. I will show the diagram. So here it works through that three main components: an RFID tag or a reader and an antenna. So that RFID tag stores information in the form of an electronic code which can be read without direct contact when it comes to near the reader, even unlike barcodes. So RFID does not require a line of sight, making it faster and more efficient for large scale identification and data collection. So this technology is widely used in supply chain management, retail, transportation, healthcare, and even in security systems. So its ability to provide a real-time information and improve accuracy has made RFID one of the most important innovations in automatic identification system. It shows the history of RFID. So it can be traced back to from World War II. So when radar technology was the first used to identify friendly and enemy aircraft. So this concept of using radio waves for identification laid the foundation for RFID. So then comes to in 1960s and 70s, the researchers began to develop electronic identification system for commercial use. So it leads to the creation of the first RFID patent. By the 1980s, an RFID was introduced in some other applications such as toll collection, access control, and livestock tracking. Then comes to the 1990s and early 2000s also, it improves in microchip and wireless technology, made RFID smaller, faster, and cheaper, which allowed it to be used in retail supply chains and healthcare. Today, RFID has become a widely used technology across industries, supporting automation, security, and real time information sharing. So, that is the history of RFID. So once again, I explained the working process of an RFID system. At the bottom, there is a tagged item, for example, your product or box here. It contains an RFID tag. That tag stores unique identification data. So the antenna sends out radio signals which activate the tag and allow it to transmit its stored information. The reader receives the signal from the tag through the antenna and convert it into the digital data, right? So this data is then sent to RFID middleware server which process, filters and integrates the information with databases or business applications for tracking and management. So this diagram shows the application of RFID as a part of Auto ID, that is automatic identification technology. At the center is RFID, one of the key Auto ID technologies, along with barcode and biometrics. So these technologies are used in real-time location system which allow tracking and identification of items, peoples or assets. So this diagram, it clearly shows the applications of RFID like access control, tag and chip, pallet and carton, track and trace and smart shelf. So in comes to an access control, RFID cards are used for secure entry in office, universities, hotels and transport systems. Okay. Second one is tag and chip. Goods can be tagged with RFID labels to track them during shipping. Third one is pallet and carton tracking. So here RFID tags on pallets and cartons. It improves the supply chain visibility and warehouse management. And fourth one is track and trace. Items can be traced throughout the supply chain, ensuring transparency and reducing loss or theft. The final one is smart shelf. RFID enabled shelves automatically detect when products are added or removed, useful in retail and inventory management. So this diagram highlights that RFID along with barcode and biometric systems, it forms the part of Auto ID technology and it's widely applied in logistics, retail, access control and real-time tracking. It is similar to the history of RFID. In the sense, the first progress is proprietary era and second one is compliance era and third one is RFID enable enterprise era and fourth one is RFID enabled industries era and fifth one is IoT era. So I will explain one by one. The first one is a proprietary era. That means it's an early era because it's a foundation from 1940s to 50s. So the roots of RFID go back to World War II when radar and radio systems were used to identify the enemies in aircraft. So it's developed from the British, and this era showed how radio waves could be used for identification, planting the seeds for future RFID development. The second one is compliance era. This is used for an research and development era. It's a foundation from 1960s to 70 around. So during this period, scientists and engineers started to experiment with electronic identification system for civilian use. So early RFID patent were filled and pilot projects began in the field like transportation and security. So RFID technology was bulky and expensive, but it proved the concept using radio frequency for automatic identification. So the Third one is RFID enabled enterprise era. This is for an commercial growth era because its foundations from 1980s to 90s. That time the RFID started being adapted in real world applications. So used in a toll collections system, livestock tracking, vehicle access control and logistics also. So RFID tag and readers became smaller and more reliable through still costly. So government and companies began to recognize RFID potential for large scale operations.